Welcome to what is believed to be the true site of Mount Sinai. In this video, we will be looking at many amazing discoveries and evidence from Mount Sinai and the area around it that provide powerful support for it being the authentic place. Your faith will be greatly strengthened as you watch this video and see how archaeology supports the truthfulness of the Bible. So sit back and let your faith be strengthened in the Bible and all the amazing places and discoveries that point to this place as the true location of Mount Sinai. So many recent archaeologists and scholars now believe the Israelites crossed the Red Sea at the Gulf of the Aqaba finger of the Red Sea, and that Mount Sinai, where the Israelites were headed, is located in Midian, which is modern-day Arabia, modern-day Saudi Arabia. So Midian was in Saudi Arabia, not in the Sinai Peninsula. In this video, we're going to be looking at strong evidence which confirms the modern-day belief that the Israelites crossed the Red Sea on the Gulf of Aqaba finger of the Red Sea, and that Mount Sinai is located in modern-day Saudi Arabia. Now, the traditional place right now where Mount Sinai is believed to be located is in the Sinai Peninsula. However, we don't believe that is the true location. And like I say, there is monumental, astounding evidence that shows now that the site of Mount Sinai is actually in Saudi Arabia, and the Bible supports that. We'll be talking about that. Now, the amount of evidence around Mount Sinai here, which today is called Jabal Machlah, reveals this place is indeed the true Mount Sinai. It is all quite convincing, so let's now look at all of the evidence here at this Mount Sinai, which is known again as Jabal Machlah. First of all, the Bible states that the Israelites camped at the base of Mount Sinai for around a year. Interestingly, at the base of this mountain here is a large flat area where the Israelites could have camped. It is huge in size and had streams of water and pasture land for their livestock to graze. Also, the climate was perfect as it is higher in elevation, so it's not hot in the summer and it's comfortable in the winter. Next, Exodus 19:18 states that Mount Sinai was all in smoke because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked violently. The top of these mountains are dark, showing signs of burnt marks. The outer parts of the rocks are black, but on the inside they are brownish in color. And you can see here there's been some rocks that have been chipped away, and you can see that on the outside they're black and on the inside they are brown. This seems to be more evidence that this mountain and the surrounding mountains close by were covered with fire and smoke. Now, from Mount Sinai, God gave the 10 Commandments to the nation of Israel and supernaturally wrote them on tablets of stone with His own finger. This was an earth-shattering event. Scripture says the mountain was on fire for 6 days and appeared as if it was going to be consumed. And the Israelites who saw this were terrified as they beheld everything that took place. The Bible also speaks about how Moses and 70 elders of Israel went up the mountain to worship God. The elders were to stay at a distance from Moses and could only go part way up. Interestingly, there is a natural plateau part way up the mountain where this event could have happened. Another piece of strong evidence is that at the base of this mountain, an altar has been discovered. This would match what Scripture states in Exodus 24:4 and 5. And Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. Then he got up early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain with 12 memorial stones for the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the tribes of Israel, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Now at the very base of this mountain are extensive remains of an altar and a complete system for animal sacrifice. There are corrals where the animals would have been kept and an altar at the front of it. There have also been discovered animal bones here underground. Scripture also refers to 12 memorial stones or pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel. Interestingly, there are stones by this altar that perfectly match the biblical record. The Saudi locals say that in the past, these stones were much more evident and could be seen much more clear, and that the platform was more intact as well. Also, Ron Wyatt documents having found one of the pillars that had Hebrew writings on it. It's quite fascinating that everything here matches perfectly the biblical account of this event. Near the altar of Moses and the 12 pillars, Moses read to the Israelites the Book of the Covenant, and they agreed to it. This means that Moses probably had a spot right above the altar that served as a stage to address the Israelites. Now, just above the altar of Moses is a large platform from where Moses could have easily spoken to the Israelites when the covenant was made. It provides a natural place from which to speak, and the Saudi locals talk about how sound travels here like a natural amphitheater. Another fascinating discovery at the base of this mountain is the altar upon which Aaron set the golden calf, and all Israel worshipped before it. On the top of these rocks is the main rock that shows a flat spot where the golden calf might have been placed for all Israel to see. Below the rocks is where Aaron would have made an altar to this golden calf. Now, Exodus 32 provides all the details. It says, "Now when the people saw that Moses delayed in coming down from the mountain, the people assembled about Aaron and said to him, 'Come, make us a god who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him.' Aaron said to them, 'Tear off the gold rings which are on the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me.' Then all the people tore off the gold rings which were on their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he took this from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made it into a golden calf, or a molten calf. And they said, 'This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt.' Now when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it." So Moses was on top of Mount Sinai for 40 days, and this event happened while Moses was away. Now, interestingly, this golden calf was a representation of the Egyptian false god Hathor. It was one of Egypt's main gods. You can see images of this false god that look very similar to the paintings on these rocks here. There are also many other inscriptions on these rocks as well. Now, worship of this false god Hathor consisted of dancing, drums, and sexual promiscuity, and this is exactly what the Israelites were doing while Moses was away. This altar, interestingly, is fenced and gated like other archaeological sites at the base of this mountain by the Saudi government. However, over the past several years, the Saudi government has opened up these sites to tourists, and you can now go there easily and see these places for yourself. Additionally, many artifacts and discoveries have been found in this area that give great evidence that this mountain is indeed the true Mount Sinai. Now, after the golden calf incident, when Moses returns back to the base of the mountain, it says in Exodus 32:20, what Moses did with this golden calf. It says, "Then he took the calf which they had made and completely burned it with fire and ground it to powder and scattered it over the surface of the water and made the sons of Israel drink it." At the base of this mountain there is a stream which forms a small lake. So this place provides the water that would have been necessary for this event to have happened here. There are also around this small lake a number of wells that have been discovered as well. So this area was a main water source. A stream came down from the mountain here, and it was a main water source. There was another stream as well just to the north. So there was plenty of water in this area for these events to take place and for the nation of Israel to have used during their time at the base of Mount Sinai. Also, after the golden calf ordeal, God ordered the Levites to kill those who had been involved in the worship of the golden calf. In Exodus 32:28, we see that 3,000 died as a result. Now, with this being the case, there should be a mass graveyard site close by to this area. Interestingly, we find a site about 4 to 5 miles north that fits exactly this biblical event. There are thousands of standing stones that appear to have been used as grave markers in this flat plain. This area is also fenced off by the Saudi government and declared as an archaeological site. Also, close by to this mountain, there has been found a menorah painting which gives evidence that the Israelites were in this area. A menorah is one of the oldest symbols of the Jewish faith. Unfortunately, this painting has been chiseled away in recent years, but older photos and documentation clearly prove its existence, and even what has been chiseled away shows the outline of a menorah. We also know that God gave to Moses, while they were at the base of Mount Sinai for about a year here, the design of the tabernacle, and that it was erected at the base of the mountain. Now, we don't have any evidence of this tabernacle as being here, as it was mobile in nature. However, by taking into consideration the location of the mountain and the lay of the land, there is a place here that would be the natural location for it to be. It is flat, close by to the altar of Moses, and at the base of the mountain.